Hey, we're back, and this is part 3 of configuring your client environment for the Azure Sandbox. Previously, we completed part 1, which was the Windows prerequisites, and we've also completed part 2, which are the Linux prerequisites, and we have a fully functioning Windows subsystem for Linux running Ubuntu 22.04 on it, the Linux distro, known as Jammy Jellyfish. Gotta love those Linux names. Okay, so as usual, we're going to just follow step by step the instructions. And just a reminder, the link I popped up on the screen is https aka.ms / Azure Sandbox. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so this takes us to the Azure Sandbox section in the Azure Architecture Center. And what we're going to do is pop over to GitHub and continuing configuring our client environment. So this first section is complete. We did all that. The second section is complete. We've done all that. Now we're on to configuring VS Code for remote development in WSL. Now, this is the recommended configuration if you intend to do smoke testing against the Azure Sandbox, or you intend to do further development on the Azure Sandbox. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing it's telling us to do is go ahead and launch VS Code. So we'll do that. And we are being asked to go install this WSL VS Code extension. So this makes it possible for you to do development against the Windows subsystem for Linux that's installed on the local computer. So that's the name of it. This is its entry in the marketplace. Let's just click on install and see what the experience is like coming off the website. I've not tried this before. Hey, it actually works. So we'll go ahead and click install. Okay, so the WSL extension's been installed. If we go over here and look at extensions, we can see for our local VS Code installation that that's installed. Options. Okay, cool. So if I just click on open the menu, you can see all the different WSL commands. I'm going to choose this connect to WSL option. And you can see down here in the lower left, VS Code is establishing a connection to WSL. Okay, cool. So you can see that we have our connection established, represented down here in the lower left-hand section of the screen where it says WSL Ubuntu. And I just want to make sure we still only have one instance of VS Code running. Sometimes when you connect to different environments, VS Code will actually launch multiple windows. So just be aware of that. Like sometimes if you have multiple VS Code windows running, you want to just go down here and check and see which environment it is that you're currently connected to. All right, so that's great. That's installed. So next, we'll go look at the HashiCorp Terraform VS Code extension. So this will give you all the nice markup and you know font colors and things of that nature that are specific to HCL, which is the format of Terraform configuration files. Gives you a nice editing experience, lets you autocomplete things. It's definitely good. There's a bunch of these, by the way. I use the one from HashiCorp. There's some special ones from Microsoft. I just prefer to use the one directly from the vendor itself. So let's go ahead and try the install here. Now this is good. So these extensions, they can be installed either in your local environment or in WSL. You want to make sure that you're installing in WSL. So we'll go ahead and do that install. Terrific. And what's next? Actually, let's go take a look, just see how these extensions are listed. Now that we've installed an extension specifically in WSL, you'll see for our local extensions, we have the WSL extension. And then for our Ubuntu, we can see Terraform is installed. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we want because we're going to be doing all of our development in WSL. Oops. It got rid of my my links, so let's navigate back up to the Azure Sandbox. And we'll navigate to our configure client environment link, which takes us to GitHub, and we can pick up where we left off. So we've installed the WSL VS Code extension. We've installed the HashiCorp Terraform extension. Now we're going to install the PowerShell VS Code extension in WSL. This will let you, remotely debug and test Linux PowerShell scripts that are running in WSL. Again, we're going to choose this option, install in WSL. So fabulous. And you'll note, once you install that, there's a terminal that opens up for PowerShell. Just keep in mind, you're going to have multiple terminals here and the ability to run multiple terminals, right? So this particular PowerShell terminal has been opened up in my home directory on my WSL installation. But I can also open up Bash terminals here, and most of our work will be done in Bash. So you always want to look over to the right here and see which terminal you're talking to. Make sure it's the Bash terminal when you're running most of the Azure Sandbox scripts. Okay? All right. We'll just go ahead and shut down VS Code. And that is it for configuring your client environment. Thanks very much, everybody.